That's how
Awesome.
fast we work over here.
Yeah, just killing it.
Hey everyone, David Mehlman joins me again for my fourth consulting call. In this episode we talk about different Rome extensions again. This time surrounding aliases, searching, and a bunch of other fun stuff. If you're a Rome developer out there, feel free to take some of these ideas and start implementing your own extensions. I hope you find this video useful and enjoy.
Cool. So thanks for reaching out again. I'm always in the market for new Rome ideas to push out to the community. Yeah, so I have your list here. Do you want to just like jump in and see what we got?
Yeah, I think that's great. Always finding new stuff as I continue using Roam.
Yeah, this is
Um,
it's been really fun like interacting with people like you and like other Rome users as more people like start using my extensions. They're like coming to me with like all these like awesome ideas. I feel like I have like a never ending backlog of like stuff
yeah,
to work on.
and for people like me who aren't technologically inclined, I hit you up yesterday or the day before and was like, hey, this extension isn't working, and I figured it out. And the whole thing was the JavaScript language that I cut and pasted was not a child. It was just a block on the same hierarchy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't working. And like just even something like so silly and small like that, figuring that out was like, oh,
Yeah.
because I went to my Rome/JS page and like all of them had like the button icon, which means obviously that they have children, except for that one. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And like there are all these little things like with CSS, like turning CSS on and off that you're just like sort of picking up on your own that are interesting. And it's getting me more interested in learning how to build some of these things myself one day, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm actually
Um,
I'm very interested and invested in the idea of like trying to get other people to build their own extensions, like get you guys and empower you in any way to like build your own and then share your own extensions with the community because
that's
what we all could create will be a lot more than like what I could just create.
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time reading about thinking and knowledge management and all of those things. And, everything points to larger team sizes being more beneficial, not because of more manpower, but because of diverse backgrounds and reasoning methods and experiences that you can look at problems from different situations and different user experiences and different workflow needs and everything that I think Connor even sort of premised Rome on was this idea of permanent thoughts and polymaths and having people take mental models from one area and apply them in a different area. So I think as people with diverse backgrounds, non-engineering backgrounds, are looking at what I would call sort of layman's term use cases and able to apply them to build their own Rome extensions. Either it's something that an engineer wouldn't necessarily think of because of their background, but also maybe it becomes the building block. Oh, I see why a layperson would think about this and build this, but as an engineer, I know way more, and that's the jumping off point. But I can take that idea and make it way better, right? So,
Right.
or more powerful or whatever. So I think it benefits everyone, and it's a real sense of like community building over time.
Yeah, it's like sort of a background process I have in my head. It's like how can we create? Part of me is like waiting on like Rome to implement it natively, but also in the meantime, like how do we create something to make it easier for other people to create these extensions and share those
Yeah,
extensions out wider?
create a macro recorder like Excel does.
That macro recorder seems overwhelming. We'll get to that, I guess.
It's yeah. So yeah, let's jump in. I mean, this first one, this is going to be like a simple yes no, I think, but like I'm trying to make Rome my sort of central repository for everything.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get away from my calendar. I'm trying to, obviously one day, I think, I can't remember who it was that was tweeting about this recently, might have been Codex Futura, but the ability from like Rome to type out an email in Rome and then just email from there would be like, I would switch all my email to there. But right now I'm trying to work on my calendar, and every day in my daily notes I have a template, and one of those things is calendar, and I put timestamp similar like you did, call with David Mehlman. And I was just wondering, is there a way to have any sort of a push notification that sort of like a calendar reminder, this is coming up in 10 minutes or this is overdue, or because it's web based, is that sort of not really a thing?
Now, when you say push notification, do you mean mobile or desktop or both?
Ostensibly both. I mean, like for example, like on my calendar, my default is like a 15-minute reminder. So at 9:45 this morning, it said in 15 minutes, call with David Vargas. And something pops up. And again, I don't know if because this is web based and not app based or anything like that, if that's possible, like the concept of push notifications, but that would be incredible.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure web-based, so like my Google Calendar, for example, only has the ability of giving me a push notification like within the web page, and
Got
like
it.
it'll like do like some icon on the top of the tab saying that notifications there. So we could do that, right? So like some options here. You can have like the alert plus like tab, right? And
Yep.
so sort of like, I don't know, do you see Twitter over here with like the like little
Yep.
red dot
The
and
red dot.
these two? Like we can do like that should be possible. And like an alert on the page itself should be possible. OS alerts, I think, have to be native apps in order to implement. I
Yeah.
don't think you can do that from a browser. Another thing we could do is send email. Not sure. It's like sort of counter to like the dream of like bringing everything into Rome, because like you're like scheduling something in here, then you're like getting the notification and email and then coming back to Rome. There's also, I've had a conversation with some people that maybe it's not great for Rome to do everything, but try to do like a few things well. I guess it's like just a matter of personal preference.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's perfectly logical, and people way smarter about product development and product management need to figure that out. So yeah, I think that's a low priority one. So I think maybe we can sort of just put a pin in that and see what happens when there's a native app. Maybe that functionality will be more valuable or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, so I think in the meantime, both of those options are doable, and people
Okay.
might be interested in those. So I'm gonna
Okay.
add them anyway.
Cool. This next one is a big thing for me. We touched on it in our last conversation when we were talking about the find and replace. And you had made the salient point that not everyone wants the same replacements. So to have it sort of, automatically do something, or not every, plural is not every S at the end of a word means a plural of it without the S, so on and so forth. But this way to create aliases, so to create your own aliases. So like at the top of a page when you're putting in your metadata or whatever it may be, that one of the attributes could be like aliases, and you could enter words that you wanted to be aliases, and then anytime you type the main word, it would create a reference, like an alias reference. This seems impossible, but would be incredible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I fully understand. So can we break that down again?
Yeah, sure. So let's say, for example, I in the down one block, I said, like, let's say my example is sensor, right? So I'm writing something about sensors, and I would create below that an alias attribute, and I would then I would write sensors lowercase, sensor singular, and sensor singular uppercase, or that would be sensor, that would be singular, the last one. And then anytime I type any of those four, it would recognize that as an alias of the parent term and create an alias to that term.
Okay, so here's how I imagine this sort of going. We have like a page here, and then
exactly
sensors, right? It's like you want all of these pages to like be combined into like one view.
Yeah, so if you were in another page and you typed sensor, it's almost like a text expander, right? Like you type sensor and it rewrites that as block paren sensor regular parens sensors capital S, which is the parent name for the term. So it's just creating an alias. So if you were to click on that, it would take you to the capital S sensors rather than a new page because you didn't add the S or whatever, but you're predefining what the aliases are.
Okay, and what's the problem that's coming up in your workflow that this would like help solve for you?
I'm constantly like writing and reading and taking notes on a given subject where people use different terminology. For example, I'm working on a project about healthcare and like sort of health and wellness and nutrition, and people call things different things. Like some people call it blood sugar, some people call it blood glucose, some people call it glucose level, some people call, like, and to have to go back and remember what it is and change it to the other one, then you're messing up the original text. It's sort of like, but they're all the same term, right? They all mean the same thing. So the ability to just instead of having to create an alias, because like when I'm taking notes on something, I will do highlights, usually in like Instapaper or something like that, import them through Readwise into Rome, and then I'll go through and I'll do my literature notes, like my Zettelkasten, and I'll create my permanent notes. And part of that process for me is bracketing a bunch of words, right, in those highlights. So they become part of my sort of network, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. But to have to go in and bracket them and create an alias every single time is like a huge time suck, as opposed to just going to the page that they were originally. Like, let's use blood glucose and blood sugar, for example. Blood sugar is the first page I create. Having to go through and change every reference to blood glucose to blood sugar in that article is a huge waste of time. Being able to just go to the blood glucose page and add an alias as blood sugar one time, and then every time it's there in the future, it would reference back to that, is like a huge time saver.
Ooh, okay. So here's what I'm imagining. So we have this sensors page. Let's use the more app example. You have a blood sugar page.
Yep.
And you like it's like you imported this article and you're like blood.
And they refer to it as blood glucose instead of blood sugar.
That's dumb. I want this to be blood glucose.
Yep.
Okay, so now we have an article and it has all this text on it, and then at some point it says blood glucose.
Exactly.
Right.
And you're like,
blah, blah,
I
blah,
want
blah, blah.
to bracket that because I want to create a term reference for it, but I don't want to have to go in and create the alias every single time. So if I just created an alias on the blood sugar page and then I just bracketed it, it would be way faster. But then it would refer back to blood sugar because it was created as an alias to blood sugar.
Right. So would you want this to, so you would want this to alias to like a blood sugar page like this?
Yeah.
Or would you want to just, alternatively, we could like replace this reference. Sorry, wait, it was blood glucose, and we could like just replace it to say blood sugar through some querying.
I don't think I have a huge preference. The only thing I would say about doing it former, I guess two questions. Number one, the former keeps the integrity of the writer's words, which I think is important in some cases. And I think also if you scroll down, one of my questions is about, can you search in queries? I'm sorry, can you search in aliases? I think it's, where is that?
Yeah.
Is it possible for the search to include aliases? It was the last question I had, which I guess is related to this, right? Because
I got it.
Because then if you leave it as blood glucose, which was the original text, but it's a reference to blood sugar, then will it also, if you search for blood sugar, will it bring back what the alias is, or only what the words are in the plain text?
Yeah. So I think what we can do here, there's a bunch of user experiences ways that we can do this. So first of all, I just learned that page references is the thing. I thought it was only for block references, but page references also works, which is dope.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
So what we can do here, so there's a couple of options we can do. Like,
funny, I've only ever used it as a page reference. I've never done it as a block reference.
Oh, I've done the opposite. I've only ever used
literally the opposite.
Yeah, I've only ever used it as a block reference, not page reference. That's funny.
Thing.
Yeah, so there's a couple of options here. We could like have this as like an option in the to do or in the right click, so I can like, if it's originally like this, we could like right click and then like link aliases somewhere on here as an option.
Mm-hmm.
We could probably do the same thing on like on this right click. There could be an option here, link aliases. And yeah, and then like in the this feels very doable.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like you
This
just
is
have to.
probably my biggest thing in Rome right now.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. And so the only configuration you would have to do is like in your like, you go to your source of truth page, you write down what all the aliases are. We're able to easily query this. And then when you do like this, we get all the aliases, and then we replace them, or we like replace that text with like the alias version of the text.
My mind is blown.
It'll probably take some time, but it is very doable. And
Okay.
I think I have
Sick.
a good sense of like how we would go about doing this, and we're gonna slap this guy on right now.
Just let me know like what the heavy lifting development stuff is, and I'll just jump right on that.
It's well, the hardest part, I think. Well, so this one will be doing it on a single block will be easy. Like just being able to like right click and
Yeah.
do this will be easy, because we're going to be here, and it'll be easy to just like highlight the text and replace it. The multi-text
And
thing
that,
is
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
the multi-text one is one that might be harder to do. I haven't done any like operations on multiple
Even in
blocks
the
yet.
single block is a game changer.
We'll,
and that blood
we'll start with that and see how it goes.
Yeah, that blood glucose would have to be a linked reference, right?
Yeah.
We'd have to go and link everything, and then it would convert linked references that had an alias. It would basically be a find replace.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I would probably go about implementing this.
Okay, like, that's sick. That's incredible.
It's like spot this place in the text and just like replace it with the alias.
That's incredible.
Cool. That's actually a really dope feature that, again, I would never think to implement, because it's just not how I use it.
Those lay people.
I feel like you're discounting yourself by continuing referring to yourself as a lay person.
No. So that's awesome. A total game changer. Is there a way to tag something and have it appear in the content of another page rather than as a linked reference? So what I mean by that is, I don't know if you've messed around with Delta at all.
The only time I did was in our last conversation.
Okay.
And so I couldn't get a great feel for it yet.
Right. So if you write like call David, and then you write whatever tomorrow, and you make it a link to a date, and then you click on that date, it will take you, where is that? Right. So it'll put it in the content of that date. But if you were to tag blood glucose or something, for example, it would only create it as a reference. You would only see it as a page reference, as a linked reference. Does that make sense?
So if I were to do, you're saying if I do blood glucose like that.
No, what I'm saying is if you go and you say if you write like nutrition before blood glucose, and then hashtag blood glucose, like the page reference, right? And then I guess what I'm saying is there are page references, right? That would show up. Where would that nutrition show up? As a linked reference?
So nutrition it'd probably be part of this like that. So if I go to blood glucose.
Right, under my linked references, exactly.
Yeah.
So not on the main content of the blood glucose page.
Right.
So is there a way to tag things that pushes it into the body of the page rather than in the linked reference, or you just have to copy and paste it into?
Yeah. Oh man, this is sort of an idea. I was sort of waiting for a second person to mention this, because this is something I sort of want to do, but I didn't know if this was unique to like my workflow. So here's my daily workflow. Every morning when I log into Rome, I'm in my daily note page. I see like all the things that previous Vargases told this Vargas to do today, and I literally do like copy block ref, paste, and then nuke this,
replace. Oh, interesting. I do something similar, but yeah.
Right. And so like now this is like a to-do that I've said for today, but I still have a reference for like when, like where, like the context of when I originally thought of that idea. And so I sort of want an automatic way to do this process. I sort of see two ways to do this. One seems impossible with the current API. The second one seems doable. So the impossible way is like, right now, there's no difference between like a linked reference and a hashtag reference.
Mm-hmm.
We could make it so that like when you do a regular linked reference like this, it only appears in the bottom. But if you do a hashtag reference, it throws it onto the page content of the page. So like
Yep.
differentiating between like what these are, or maybe we define like a third reference, which is like the ampersand reference of
Yep.
blood glucose, and like this syntax automatically pulls this guy up as like a linked reference here or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know if we can do because we can't right now. We can't add data on pages that we're not currently on. So
Got it.
the way that we would implement that is that like after you type this, the browser would like automatically like go to this page, paste this back, and then like go back to where you were, which could be like very jarring for a user.
Yes.
The other way I could see this being implemented is if on the blood glucose page you like do a pull references
Oh, interesting.
button, and then I click this and it just automatically pulls it and sort of does like the thing that I was doing manually but like automatically.
Yeah, that's sort of like a workaround. Yeah, it would be nice if you didn't have to go to the blood glucose page and then pull it, right? But because I do a similar thing where I hashtag all the stuff that I'm doing during the day that I need to do like another day as just hashtag inbox.
Yeah.
And then every morning I query for inbox and I copy block refs and put them into my to-dos for that day. But then after I've done that, I do the replace with text and alias. So I keep the reference to the original one, but that way I can manipulate like the words if I want to change something, but I still have the reference back to the original one.
Yeah.
So instead of, just pasting that and then removing it from the date, I replace with text and alias. That way I have the alias back to the original time that I created it, but I also changing the content of that to do doesn't change it. Like you're able to do that because it's not totally a reference. It changes the copy to plain text.
Interesting. Yeah, I actually prefer like changing it here. I would want it to change it in the reference, but yeah, I think it's just like differences in people's workflows.
Yeah, for sure.
In general,
well, we can think about that one.
Yeah, the idea that I'm hearing here is like some way to just like pull references, and then we can add some configurable options on like based on like how people use this differently. And this could be like a button you press, or like a right click, or a keyboard shortcut that's like Control R or something, and like just have some quick way to like pull the things that are here into the page until we have some nicer like write API to like be able to write to the page without navigating to it.
Sounds good. Okay. Is it possible to search function for the mentions of rather than the page itself? What I mean by that is, for example, I have a lot of permanent notes from like Zettelkasten. And if you go into your find or create page, like the search bar, and I don't know if you have permanent notes, but if you search for permanent notes and you open it in the sidebar, it will, because permanent notes is
one thing, it's like you're saying when I do this.
Right. Because like a lot of times like a page for me, like inbox would be an example, permanent notes is an example. Similar to what we were just talking about, the content of that page is 0, but has a lot of linked references, right? Because I'm just tagging things as that. So the idea of like you have to go it and then you have to click the references button is just sort of silly. Like you should be able to search for the mentions of rather than searching for the page and then clicking the mentions of.
Okay, so
like you're 33 there. There's nothing on the page.
It's 133.
Or sorry, you have a lot of random thoughts. Right? Like you opening the page random thought in the sidebar is irrelevant to you. Like that is a useless workflow to me, at least.
Right.
But if I'm looking for, I know I had a random thought about this and I'm writing something and I want to open all my random thoughts, I don't want this page. That's a blank page with 133 references. I just want the 133 references open.
Okay, so got it. So we want a way such that there's two things you can do when you're searching here. You can do like a click, and that brings you to this page.
Yeah.
Then there's the shift click, which adds it over here. You want a third thing where maybe you want a third thing where maybe it's like a shift control click and it already does that. Yeah, if you do shift control click, it just opens the mentions of.
See?
They already
That,
got
you
it.
can cross that one right off your list, bro. That's sick.
Already exists. For
You
people
work
watching
fast.
this, you just shift control click.
Wow.
Look at that.
Awesome.
That's how fast we work over here.
Yeah, just killing it. Is there a way to create brackets around a word without having to highlight it? So similar to like what we were talking about before, like I have blood glucose. I just want to be able to like control K or whatever it is, and for it to create brackets around that word. Like as opposed to highlighting the word and hitting brackets.
So if I have like a word, you want to be able to like control K and it
And
brackets.
it just puts brackets around that word. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a keyboard shortcut for that. Is there a way to yeah, so okay, so clicking like left bracket while it's highlighted does that. And you're saying you want just like in your typing flow, typing stuff, and then I want to do like control bracket.
Boom.
And it just like hits
and
stuff and then you keep going.
Exactly.
I feel like this should also exist, but maybe it doesn't.
Because like when you're writing, it's just a pain to like go back and have to.
Ooh,
Also,
you know what?
I don't.
You know what I just thought of? This help menu should like have a search bar up here.
For sure.
I'm gonna add that.
I get royalties on that.
Yeah, I guess there is something for that, but I think control bracket is probably the easiest way to do that, right?
Yeah, something like that.
A lot of links are multiple words. Like
I know that was the problem. That's a big issue. So I don't know if this is functional, as if it can only be one word. But maybe this goes to my other question. In Word, Option arrow takes you to the end of that word, whereas like Control arrow takes you to the end of the line. But for me in Chrome, it like messes up. It's another function. Do you have any sense of what that is?
Yeah, I don't know what the Chrome.
It's like forward or it's like back page.
Yeah, so a lot of the arrow functions in Chrome is like it like moves like page navigation. Oh. But I think there's like a way to do beginning or end of line.
I want end of word, yeah.
Oh well, end of word is easier. End of word is well for me it's control left, control right. So I think for Macs it's command left, command right.
Control. No, that's what I'm saying. Oh, command.
Yeah.
No, command is the end of the line for me.
Oh, interesting. And option?
Alt. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It does something else.
Oh, interesting.
I think it goes back a page or forward a page or something. So like that's the option is the way we do it in Word, but in a browser it doesn't work. So this is sort of like the impetus for asking for this, because it's even more tedious if you can't just like jump to the end of the word and then jump back holding shift to highlight the words.
Yeah, because it's like this already sort of exists by doing just like
exactly. But what you just did, you cannot do on a Mac because the option arrow key or alt arrow key for you does something in your browser. So maybe it's just a question of configuring your browser shortcuts differently.
Yeah, I don't have a Mac, so I'm not sure.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how useful I could be in that regard, but I want to say that it has to exist in some capacity. Yeah. Because it's a pretty broad enough feature that I think you should be able to like search around the webs, and there's got to be some Mac user that like figured out how to do this.
Okay.
But I did get the help search bar out of this, so that's a good idea.
Back to our original point of having non-engineers think of things that would then become building blocks for other things. Is there a way to have blocks open with certain criteria based on the parent or other criteria? So basically, I have a to-do list daily, on the template for my daily notes page.
Yeah.
Is there a way to have every new block as that's a child of a specific block open with certain things as opposed to blank? So like if it's under to-dos and you had entered a new block, like to-do and hashtag inbox is already there. So it's like a pre-formatted thing based on the parent.
Okay.
It's like everything I do that's to-dos needs the checkbox under it. But then why do I have to type to-do every single time?
Yeah. So you want, just to be ultra sure I understand, you have this block here.
Yep.
If I hit tab, then like
Boom.
this and this should already
Yes.
like be populated.
And if you hit enter now, if you go back to X, and you hit enter, yep, again, like everything that's a child of a specific block has a pre-formatted thing.
Yeah. So we have some prior art here
Okay.
that I'll be able to reuse. So like we do have like so Victor created templates by doing this, where like
Interesting.
where so like right, I just do blog and it like replaces it with like this template.
Cool.
And I configure that here so you see I have like a bunch of these, and so I have one in blog, so that every time I do whatever this word is, it replaces it with whatever is on this page. And this is
I didn't even know that template feature existed.
Yeah, it's part of the Rome 42 suite of tools.
Got it.
Victor Tabori was like the original author. This is like super useful for like my newsletter one, where I have like a pretty extensive template here, and it's like super useful to just do like newsletter.
Interesting. Yeah, I use Text Expander for like my templates like that, but it doesn't obviously work for like if once you're in the block, every time you open a new child, it wouldn't do that.
So basically what I'm saying is that like the way this works is they're detecting the like event or the moment the user hits here in order to replace it.
Yep.
And what we can do instead is like detect the moment a block is created, check the parent, and check to see if like this is there. So we can define a similar page that says like child template / like that, right? And then you can define here to do right, and so you like configure that here, right? So like now this is stored on this page. Then here it's like every time we create a block or any sort of edits, we check to see if the parent, if this matches like whatever that config page is, then we just like paste the contents here.
This is incredible.
This is doable.
No sweeter sound.
This basically
is doable.
Anything that's like doesn't have to do the only thing that's like not doable right now is writing in places that you're not already on.
Got it. Okay.
Almost everything else is doable right now, and even the like writing in places you're not currently on is going to be opening up soon with this new backend API, I think.
Sick.
Which is sick.
I was going to say, is there a way to, once you mark something to do, to then remove things? Like, I don't need it to say inbox anymore once it's done.
So basically you want to, doing some housekeeping here.
Yeah.
So you want like on click, delete this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that's
because then if it's created, it's because it's not on a page that we're on, right?
Yeah. So like that is also doable. It's like pretty specific.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be prioritized over some of the other ideas I have.
For sure.
But like this is like pretty simple to do.
Yeah, for sure. It was more just like, that's not like a big impediment to workflow. That was just a sort more of a like, what is possible question.
Yeah. Definitely
I think there are two other quick ones. So I think I asked you this on Twitter, but because the daily notes is a continuous page and not a discrete piece of information, the filter tab, the filter icon on the top right is like decommissioned or whatever the right word is on that page. So you can't filter by done or remove done rather. So similar to what I was just talking about, you see it just goes away. So every day in my to-dos,
that one goes away because I don't have anything. So if I did,
if you're in the actual page, it's there. But if you're just on daily notes, then it won't be there.
I think it's there.
So weird. It's not there on mine.
So it wasn't there. It wasn't here before because I normally don't have references to my daily notes, but I just created one, right? Like I created a reference yesterday saying done, referencing today, and then over here
is that hashtag done the same thing as clicking a to do as done? Yeah. I have to look into this one.
And then I should be able to like shift click it to remove it.
Yeah, doesn't work for me.
Also, just gonna plug the new sort con here. You can sort your references by a bunch of little options here.
Yes, love it.
Pretty dope.
Mine doesn't do that, but we can come back to that. I'll send you an example.
Yeah, so by default,
Whatever.
it should like your linked references are on both like the individual pages and on the like endless stream of daily
Master.
notes.
Yeah, my filter never shows up on my endless stream.
Got it. So yeah, I mean, I can
We
be
can.
like, yeah, you can send me some screenshots.
I'll send you some
Afterwards.
screenshots. Yeah. And then I think the last one, and I know we're butting up against the hour anyway, is it possible to search to include an alias? So if I had, in the example that we were talking about before, blood glucose was the parent. I typed blood sugar, it automatic, and then I clicked the link and I whatever the action was, link aliases or whatever that was, it would display to me as still blood sugar, but it would be a link automatically to blood glucose. Does that make sense?
Okay, so you want where do I have the blood sugar, blood glucose? Okay, so if I have something like this, blood glucose. Right,
It
so I have
says blood sugar, right? I would love if you search for blood sugar if that reference came up as well. Let's see if that. I don't think it does.
Yeah, so there it is.
That's so weird to me. And if you click on the 22nd, what is it?
Well, so the 22nd takes me to the daily notes page, and then this takes me to like the block where I create the reference.
Okay, maybe that was my issue. Okay, we can edit this last question out.
Well, no, I think so. I mean, I'll probably include it because maybe like someone doesn't know about this, right?
Yeah, for some reason I was having
page
trouble.
references. Page references is new to me, which it probably shouldn't have because I've been doing page references this whole time.
Blood glucose. So search for blood sugar though.
Right. So for both, blood glucose is there and blood sugar.
Yeah. Okay, that's dope.
Yeah, and so yeah, because what Rome searches by is like the raw markdown that's in the text.
That was my question. Is it searched by like what's visible to use the person, or like what the code?
No,
language
it's always by what's in the raw markdown. There's another way to like verify this.
If you search for a block reference by that weird code that it makes up, that will come up.
Yeah, like the code will come up, but like not the display. Another example of this is queries, right? So queries, like the text is just this, but then it like populates down like all of this is just display stuff. So if I were to like type in launching like that, it won't like show up that like this won't show up here in the results. This is from a different daily notes page, and this is like the page itself, but it won't show up this query thing because that's just an alias for like some query code. Yeah, it's not even an alias. It's just display info. It's like like someone just like put like a coat of paint like over like this query. But like the actual text, the actual searchable text content is the like query text here. And so how Rome does search is just based on all of the raw markdown text values.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. This is fantastic.
This was awesome.
What do we have? I think we got 4 more ideas just from this call, which is so dope.
Awesome.
5 ideas. So dope.
Sick.
Thanks again for
reaching
out and sharing some of these ideas. This is
awesome.
This keeps me busy.
I'm so psyched. I'm happy that some of them were already there. I'll send you some screenshots of that filter thing because it drives me crazy every morning. I have to click into the daily notes page, whatever. But that's sick. I really appreciate it, man. And I look forward to the video and to seeing these things get implemented and keep up the awesome work. The last few, the sort linked references is a game changer. And like I said, the to do on mobile saves me like not only time, but like countless like
emotional pain.
I have to type to do again. Yeah, like I say it every time. So that's awesome. And I really appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of other roamers do as well.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again. Yeah,
All right.
I'll see you on the Twitterverse.
Sounds good, bud. Talk to you soon.
Thanks everyone for watching. To catch up on more of what I'm building, please check out my website at davidvargas.me. If you find that you're getting value out of what I'm creating, I would really appreciate you sending me back some value by becoming a sponsor. Head to the support link in the description below to find out more on how you can do so and for me to continue doing the work that I do. Thanks again.